Michael Vick, we all know what he did. Now we all know what he's doing. Vick gets a reality show. Why are we surprised? Why do women have sex? Well, lots of reasons, but you might be surprised by one of the big ones. There's a reason fans are supposed to stay behind the walls. An angry fan smacked the referee across the back with a chair. Come on, man. This ain't the WWE. Know your role and stay in the stands. In the world we live in today, the most wonderful, thoughtful gesture can be scrutinized. Since 1934, in a remote part of the Mojave National Preserve, there's been a cross on a mountain to honor World War I veterans. 10 years ago, it came under legal attack from a former National Park Service employee who, though himself a Catholic, thought it was inappropriate to favor one religion over another in the preserve. Well, the Supreme Court is trying to decide if the government can maintain the cross or if it violates the First Amendment's ban on an establishment of religion. Our contributors tonight, nationally syndicated columnist Amy Alkon and civil rights attorney and radio talk show host Leo Terrell. Leo, I'll start with you. How do you see this from a legal perspective?
Take the cross down. There's too many religious groups in this country, Fred, that would be critical of having this cross up there. I understand the basic principle behind it. It's there for fallen soldiers, but we don't want the establishment of religion. By having that cross there, in a nutshell, Fred, places one religious group over the others. And let's face it, the person who was objecting to it was a Catholic himself.
Amy?
Yeah, I agree with Leo. And what's really disgusting, though, Scalia made this really slimy argument that it's merely a symbol for the dead, not for Catholicism and Christianity. The thing is, if there were a 20-foot Wiccan pinnacle there, does anybody think we'd be having this discussion? I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Well, go ahead, Leo.
Go ahead, Fred.
No, go ahead.
No, the key here is this. We're in a war in the Middle East. There's this issue of religion. What we want to be is a symbol of religious freedom. And believe it or not, bringing that cross down tells the world that we tolerate all religions. So I think it's quite significant, not just on the legal issue, but from an international sense, to make sure we are viewed as a country that have religious freedom and tolerance.
But you understand, I mean, the premise here was simply to honor those who had fought in World War I, nothing more.
Yes.
Yeah, but put up a war memorial. Don't put up a menorah, the Ten Commandments, a big neon sign that says there's no evidence there's a God. We're a country of laws, and this is a great thing. Like Leo was saying, this is something to admire. This is a religious symbol on public land, and it violates separation.
All right, let's move on now. Here's the question. What would you do? And I hope you are never, ever in this position. Your child is kidnapped. There's a demand for ransom. You can't come up with the money. You're terrified and mentally tormented. And the father said, I don't have the money. Just kill him. And I'll consider that as if I have given his soul as a gift to God. Can you imagine? It worked. And the boy is back with his father. Now, it happened in Baghdad. Kidnappers demanded $50,000. The father could only come up with $10,000. And then the kidnappers released the 6-year-old boy. Of course, things are different in Baghdad than they are here. Wow. Amy, would you have made that decision?
You can't say this is the worst thing. As you said, losing a child. These barbarians are the worst things to these kids. They behead them. They gouge out their eyes. If that's your kid's fate, you did everything you could to raise the money. You'd snap, too. You might. And you probably wet yourself while doing it. This guy, you can't, until you're in this guy's shoes, you cannot pass judgment on him.
Right. Leo?
This is it's unbelievable, Fred. When I read the article, I would have told the kidnapper to take my life. But to say, here, take my son, kill him, thank God we live in this country, because you know what? That type of mindset does not exist in America. It's just was a horrible story. Thank goodness these criminals are rational.
Amy, you want the last word here?
I just think that you can't pass judgment on somebody in this position.
I do. I'm passing judgment because that's outrageous. No one in this country, in America, would ever say, go ahead and kill my son. We have a different standard here.
You know what? Wait, I have to add this. It's not the standard. The guy, he was in an impossible situation. Albert Ellis, the famous therapist, used to tell people who were suicidal that was their prerogative. Sometimes these outrageous things work.
Well, I'll tell you. He's very lucky at work this time. Let's move on. Okay, here's a quote. I've made some mistakes in the past, and I wish it had never happened. But it's not about how you fail, but about how you pick yourself up. Who said that? The answer? Michael Vick. And you'll be able to see how Michael is picking himself up because he's going to star in his own reality TV series on BET. Michael says, what I want to do is change the perception of me. I am a human being. Leo, Is this a human being you care to watch in his own reality show?
I may not watch it, but I believe that people should have a second chance. Let me say, first of all, Fred, I have a dog, and I was bothered by Michael Vick's conduct. But BET giving him a show, what's the big deal? Nike has just re-signed Michael Vick. So let's make it clear. In this country, we do give people a second chance. Michael Vick has a right to earn a living, and he's paid for his crime.
Leo, let me say this, that I believe Nike came out and said that they are just supplying him shoes, just to try to clarify that a little bit, just supplying him shoes. They denied that they'd re-signed him.
Well, Fred, here's my point.
Right.
The fact that they're even negotiating, they're even doing something with Mike, tells me that they see Michael Vick as a person who they can make money from.
Right.
And that's why he's back with the Eagles and with the Nike.
It's a profit center. This isn't whether he's reformed. I really doubt that a guy who did this with dogs suddenly has seen the light. But what I have to say is there are a lot of channels on TV. And if you don't like what's on when you have this incredible tool at your disposal, the opposable thumb, change the channel.
I agree.
What is it today, though? Isn't it funny? We love to look at train wrecks. We know we shouldn't. We shouldn't gawk, but we are just forced to look at them and see what happens.
This is human nature. And the amazing thing is we always say, oh, things are terrible now. Human nature actually hasn't changed. There's just more media.
Good point. All right. Let's move on now to our final topic here. Perhaps this is something you thought about. Now, probably you're going to come at it from different perspectives. What makes a woman want to have sex? I'm not being forward, but according to a recent study, I may be able to shed some insight. According to this study, some want to please their partner. Some do it for self-esteem. Others do it because they call it a duty. Amy, this is right in your wheelhouse. You are the advice goddess. What is the correct answer?
Actually, all of them, and there's a subtext here, and people don't like to say a woman should do things, just because it gives a man pleasure. But relationships are filled with tasks that don't exactly bring people to screaming orgasm. Like the guy will rotate your tires. If he does that, stuff like that, that he's not in the mood for, can't you just throw him a quickie,
Leo, what do you think?
Well, first of all, Fred, I hope you can tell I'm blushing right now based on this subject matter. I'm totally blushing. But, Fred, I'm not surprised by these answers because men have the same mindset as well. Sometimes they do it to please their mate. So I don't see anything surprising about this survey. It's so surprising to hear women say it, but men would say the same things in private corners. So no big surprise to me.
Actually,
now I know that I won't even talk about my private life. I'll just blush.
Actually, what matters is whether a woman does it based on approach or avoidance psychology, meaning approach is that she loves her partner and wants to make him happy, and avoidance is to avoid negative consequences like anger or the relationship breaking up.
And what do you think? What happens more often than not, Amy?
You know what? I couldn't say. Statistics, they're lies, especially about sex. But this guy, I actually know him, and this is pretty good research from this guy.
All right. Leo, you have anything else to say, or are you still blushing?
I'm still blushing.
All right. You guys
I'll remain quiet.
You guys have a nice night. Nice job.
Thank you, friends.
Thanks.
Okay.